Recording.
Record.
Hello.
Hello, Swami. Let's start off by introducing ourselves. So this is my guru, Swami Ananda Paramahansa, and this is actually a mentee.
Wonderful to see you. Lovely to see you, Akshay. Thank you for inviting me to come to your podcast and talk to you today. It's really lovely.
My pleasure. So today's topic is medication, meditation, and bliss. I'd like to start off from our experiences from experiencing the practice of our guru, Mahatma Babaji's Kriya Yoga, which is a very powerful technique to find the inner happiness within ourselves. And I just want to share first my Swami, my guru's experience with meditation, and then I explain mine, and then we'll talk about other things that will relate to this. So Swami, would you like to give the introduction to this beautiful technique called Kriya Yoga and discuss how has it changed your life? Because you've been practicing for over 25 years, haven't you, Swami?
Yes, I have, darling. And I had an interesting time finding my guru. It took me 12 years to find him. And I found him after I had a dream about him. I found him in the Himalayas, in his ashram. And I went, that was in 1997. And then in about 2000, I learned Kriya Yoga with him straight away. And then in 2000, I went back and he said, teach Kriya Yoga in the West. And I've been teaching ever since. And Kriya Yoga is a wonderful technique. And you've been with me now for quite a few years, actually. And it's a powerful technique to take you into meditation. Now, meditation, I don't find, or I hadn't found that easy, because the body jumps a lot, the mind jumps a lot, you get tension, you get easily distracted.
And I feel like Kriya Yoga gives that mind and body coordination in the same time that heals you from within, I feel like, and gives that stability, that inner stillness that you're looking for.
That's the key. That's the key. You've got it in one. You're wonderful. And it's lovely to have a young man like you as an example of terrific. You've been very, very diligent and marvelous at doing it. And I love to hear the experience that you've had with it, actually.
So I started Kriya Yoga 2 years ago. Due to prior starting Kriya Yoga, I was in a very dire situation. So I was on heavy medication, and I just wanted a way to, I was never happy inside. I was looking for happiness through, say, let's go Nando's, or let's go KFC, or because I had a food addiction in a way, so I loved food. That would give me some type of healing. But then I would go to I just look for satisfaction in other things, in a way. So I try and find the happiness within it through other things. Like, oh, let's go to designer store and buy like a Gucci top or anything. But when you buy that Gucci top, it gives you satisfaction for one day. Oh, my friend said, oh, you look very good in that. You look very cool. And then after that, I realized that it's not making me happy, really. It's just giving me a bit of satisfaction, a bit of, just a little tiny bit of satisfaction. But I just decided to try Kriya Yoga. And after doing Kriya Yoga for about 2 years, I found the sense of, in the way that it's written by the book Autobiography of a Yogi, it says, find the inner guru within yourself. And I think I'm slowly climbing up the mountain and unraveling the true meaning of finding that inner guru within myself, which is the Babaji from the Himalayas.
Yes. And it's really, actually, though, it is about finding your soul, your soul light, the soul that was born here in you, actually, to live a life. And we don't realize who we are. We don't realize that within us, that spark, that light, that soul, that Akshay. And we look outside, as you said, for the Gucci top. And this Kriya takes you in. And once you go into the heart and enter that kingdom and enter into your heart and you touch Akshay, and Akshay opens to you, and the light of you and the abundance of you opens, then you enter into something that is always going to fulfill you and feed you. And then the next bit of it is you open to the whole of consciousness, the whole of the Supreme.
Just a quick question, Swami. So the viewers that don't know what consciousness is, could you define it for us in a sentence maybe, or what is consciousness?
Well, consciousness is an energy which is behind the whole of creation. Is a consciousness, there's an energy field of creation. And we're like fishes swimming in this. We're living in it, but we don't realize it.
And is that why some gurus that were vegetarian, because they believed every living thing had a bit of consciousness in it, and that's why some of them ended up being vegetarian, because they didn't think that consciousness within each animal is kind of, in a way, you know.
Yes.
That suggestion? Or?
Yes, it is. And it's true, because that breath is breathing the animal, breathing the plants, breathing the trees, breathing everything. And we enter inside and we awaken. Our consciousness goes in and we unite and we see life from a different perspective. We come from within rather than without, thinking that Gucci top is going to fix us.
And it's also, I feel like, with the Kriya Yoga practice, it's also a way of like blocking out the outer noise and finding the inner voice within yourself.
It is.
And like the awareness opens up through you, and like it's kind of like you can see things. It's like having a sixth sense in a way, you know.
Absolutely.
The awareness is in us, but we have to expand it and grow it. And that awareness, as it expands and grows, it does amazing things for us, and we'll be able to do great things. And it just changed my life, this awareness, because I think people that never practice meditation or Kriya Yoga don't know that they lack awareness to finding that inner strength and seeing the whole picture in a way. Because I feel like people can be very judgmental and closed-minded, but when they start finding the kingdom within you and find that Kriya Yoga practice, they start expanding to that inner ocean of peace, and then they're able to transmute that to the entire area of people that they know.
And
That's
they find that they're kinder to themselves as well. They don't judge themselves so strongly as well as everybody else. You know, we're always judging ourselves, but suddenly our minds are calmer and they're happy where they are. They're happy in themselves and they're happier with their life rather than judging so much.
Yeah, I think that's true, Swami, because once you start judging yourself, it's kind of like you keep judging yourself and then you'll be judgmental to others. And I feel like that's a key reason why some people end up in so much trauma, so much stress, and it leads to a downward pit of absolute, let's just say, tragedy in a way.
It's tragedy.
Yeah, and
it's tragic.
So what's your so did Babaji say anything about money in a way, like how's money? Is it the way of the world, or
it's the way of the world? And it's the way of the world. We have money, we buy food with it, we feed and clothe our children with it. When I was with him in Nainital, he would sit outside and he would sit on steps. Actually, there were steps leading into the house he lived in. So he'd sit on the top step and people would come and sit in front of him. And you know, if a boy came with a bag of rice, he'd get up and pay the man. He'd pay for the rice. He'd go through to the kitchen. He'd tell the cooks in the kitchen what he wanted for lunch and what he wanted for everybody. He'd come back, he'd sit down. If somebody came there for healing, he'd give them healing. If a couple came, they wanted a baby, he'd bless them for a baby. And And if somebody wanted to learn Kriya Yoga, he would teach them Kriya Yoga. Others would come and he'd teach them spiritual teachings. Some would come and he'd send them away because they had too negative energy and he didn't want them there. He was quite strong, actually. And you have to be careful. You've got to take care of yourself and you have to raise the vibration within you. You have to change yourself. You've changed yourself, Lex.
I think also it's like I've noticed that I just stopped caring about money. Like if it happens, it happens. But
Yes.
if it doesn't happen, I'm not really too fussed. It's like
Yeah.
it's there's 3 stages I read in this book by Swami Vivekananda. He said there's a monkey mind, a
Yes.
concentrated mind, and then there's a blessed mind.
Yes.
And would you expand on that, Swami? Like
The monkey mind is the monkey which takes you out and makes you feel distressed. And as you said, looking at somebody else thinking, I wish I was that, da, 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 and the Gucci top. And what was the next mind?
the concentrated mind.
The concentrated mind is very important because we have to have control and dominion over our mind. So with meditation and with Kriya Yoga, you're raising the breath up and you're bringing it up. And then all of the breath, you're concentrating on the mind. And our mind is in our body. It's not just here. Our appetites are in our tummies and they affect our minds. And if we can calm our tummy area with the breath, that helps our mind. Then our hearts and chest and throat. And then gradually, this positive energy comes up and suddenly it opens and your mind is concentrated. It's not out there jumping around with thoughts about lunch or supper or the Gucci top. You can go into a concentrated, and you are concentrating the mind onto one spot here. And then gradually, as you practice, this mind concentrates and then it opens, and it opens to the whole of creation, and you're in bliss and peace.
Wow, that's amazing.
3 things.
And just like a quick question, did this bliss change you? Is it permanent, would you say, or does it come and go? Or bliss, is it a short-term fix? Could you describe bliss for me, Swami?
It's not a short-term fix. It's Bob, you see, in a sense, what I found was, Akshay, is that the Kriya Yoga taught me. You are teaching yourself. You have a teacher who understands what you're learning, but you are experiencing it yourself. It's self-realization in God consciousness. You're realizing yourself. I can't teach you something that you realize. It's like when you have a bowl of soup, I can't really tell you what that tastes like. I can't really tell you whether it needs more salt and pepper. It's only your experience of eating that soup. And this inner breath brings the experience. And then you have the aha moment. Gradually you think, oh, my mind is peaceful. And then you go into, oh, and the whole of creation opens and, you just are infinite. Now I can't explain it to you, really. I can't teach you that, sweetheart. I can understand it when you tell me you feel it, when you've experienced it. And Kriya Yoga is the practice to open you to this.
And the thing is, Swami, could you also discuss the chakra points of how the balancing the chakra points can affect us in a way?
Well, they do, because when we have the breath and we draw the breath up, we're drawing positive energy up. We're cleaning with the breath. We're cleaning our body. We're cleaning our mind. We're cleaning our spirit. We're cleaning our chakras. And Babaji says that is positivity is up. And then we're drawing it up to the highest rejoicement. But a lot of people live and the energy is running out of the root chakra and running into the world, and you're in the world, you're in that, and you lose your power, you lose your mind, you lose your life, you go hither and thither, the mind is gone, the heart is gone, you know, you're speaking nastily, you know, but you can retrieve this energy and draw it up and bring it up. And as you're working with this, so the pranayama breath, the other breaths, they bring balance and they open to a higher understanding in you. And you draw that energy up and you get the balance of the centeredness within you. And then that's a centered mind, a centered throat, a centered heart, a centered solar plexus, a centered sacral, a centered root, that you're living in the centeredness of yourself.
It's like turning a caterpillar into a butterfly, isn't it, Swami?
It is. And you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And like, Yogananda said that Kriya Yoga speaks of the evolution of the mind. What it's like, I read that in a study that Kriya Yoga shuts off the limbic system. So it basically stops you from being less reactive and it stops you from overthinking.
It does.
But is there like any, so it says it speeds of the evolutionary mind. It's the faster way to speed of the evolutionary mind.
Yes.
And is it, what are the qualities of that, would you say, of speeding the evolutionary mind? Is it?
Well, the quality of it is that you're taken from this sort of world of action and reaction into a centeredness when you're actually in tune with the creative power of life. You're in tune with the Supreme.
It's a bit submitting to that higher power in a way, isn't it?
You are. You're entering into a greater, and that in the end drives the car. That the mind is quiet. So therefore you're inspired from an innermost nature to be in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, because you've entered in to that place and joined and united with the Supreme, rather than this hysteria of the world of Maya, which is all our minds. We're all creating all this stuff.
And like, would you say, what's your view on mindfulness, Swami? Because mindfulness is a very popular app in today's society. It has over 25 million, I think, followers. I checked last time on, but I've tried mindfulness. I'm not disregarding it anyway, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of diligence. But with Kriya Yoga, I found it's really rocketed my spiritual growth. But why do you think mindfulness is so popular and Kriya Yoga is slowly gravitating? And why do you think it would take? Why do you think, is it because it's not a hard discipline? But what's your opinion when you say, Swami?
Well, in all fairness, I haven't actually tried mindfulness. I don't know quite what it is or how they do it.
Okay, so mindfulness is you control your breath. You breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, and you just count the steps. And there's levels, there's 8 levels to it. I've tried it. It didn't do much to me. I found it took a lot of time for me to get to that inner quality and inner balance. But Kriya Yoga is the rocket ship to happiness, really.
It is. I think it's a very old practice, and it's actually taking you within. You know, you are opening up all the chakras. You're breathing in different parts of the body, and they are inspiring, and they do open you.
Oh, Swami, quick question. Could you tell us a little bit about the Anjana chakra? Because it's such a powerful chakra. What is it like when you open it up? Because everyone's telling me it's Anjana chakra when you open it. It gives you psychic abilities. You have clairvoyance. Can you tell us a little bit about clairvoyance and this psychic ability?
Well, for me, they're more of inspirations I get. And for me, Kriya Yoga's brought me into a lot of timing in my life. So it's not, I always felt, and I was always trained, not to desire boons.
Yeah.
Because what can happen is you can think, oh, I want to be clairvoyant or clairaudient or whatever, clair this, that, and the other. And you put your mind on that, and that's what you want to achieve. And then somehow in the great, well, it's like a tree of life. It's like the great understanding. You can get stuck on that one point. You can just get stuck on clairvoyance and stuck somewhere. What I found is I didn't ask for boons. I just allowed my God to open me. I handed my life to God to open me, and I didn't even think of that. When I first started with Babaji and I meditated, my mantra was, please God, show me the way, because I don't know. This little body doesn't know. So the third eye has, I presume, opened. I don't know. But I find I'm very intuitive now. I wouldn't say I am psychic, but I wouldn't put a name on it. It's you get feelings about things, actually. You get inspired about things. I know I'm looked after. So it's slightly different from the psychic thing. I'm going to read your life and you're going to meet Johnny in 10 years' time and have 3 children. It's not that.
It's kind of like a God awareness in a way, isn't it?
It is. It's like a wholeness. You move into a wholeness.
I think the first couple of lessons we had with each other, you said that you should treat Kriya Yoga very innocently, in a way.
Yeah. And just allow that breath to unfold you. You get an unfoldment. You just awaken. It's wonderful. And just trust that.
Did Babaji say anything about God Swami? Did he ever talk about his experiences with this divine power that he ever...
He never talked about, it's only God. Everything he handed to God. He said, nature's bowing to God. We're bowing to God. The God song is within us. God is all. There's nobody other than God. That's all he would say continually. And nobody is before God. It just had humility and just complete.
So he kind of submitted his will to the divine power, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think that's how it should be in some regards, because some people, they think when they become very, very successful, very, very powerful, they think they are God in a way.
No.
They kind of take control. They kind of think they are a deity in a way. But if you could understand, if you ever read in the text it says God is all knowing, all powerful, and all omniscient. But if you think about it, if God wanted to, help, if God was in this world, he would not be in a human form, in my opinion. He would be in his most beautiful form, in a way.
Well, God is in everything. It's not separate from you and me. It's not separate from ugliness. It's not separate from evil. It's not separate from good. It's in everything, actually. And it's the thing is what we are and what we do.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You see, the essence of you and me is supreme. But if I choose to kill somebody, that's my action. Not God's action. It's my action.
Okay.
And the deeper we go to finding that supreme source, then we enter into peacefulness, love, and kindness. And we are changed, and we are expressing, actually, our beautiful selves. Our loving selves.
And that inner beauty.
And that inner beauty.
Like I've seen things happen, like, as a kid, like lot of my friends when I was young, they always wanted to have that, aesthetics wise beauty, but they never bothered about the inner beauty in that sense, because they're always looking for, say, but they're never at peace because they're always looking for that aesthetics wise beauty.
Gucci top.
No, like in a woman sense, like in a female partner. But
Yeah.
then they realize that it's kind of like they move on to the next more beautiful thing aesthetically wise, but they can't find that inner beauty within them, inner beauty within that female partner. They don't look for that. What's your advice for them, Swami?
Well, it's tough for them because that can never please them in the end. You see, it's always changing. Is an illusion, all that. But once you get inside, like you found, then your mental health is much better. You're not looking for something else to fix you, that you are in a place of peace within you, that the light of the heart, you realize the light within you. The light comes forward, filling your face with light, filling your eyes with light, filling your life with light. And light is peace, and light is love, and light is the creative power of all creation. And that is in you, through you, and throughout the world. But we're like, as I've said, we're like fishes, we don't realize it. But once you realize that, then that sustains you. So I think this is wonderful. It's been a wonderful time together. And shall we?
A few more questions for me.
A few more, right?
So, can you tell us a little bit about how Kriya Yoga has affected you from when you first started, in a way? Like, how did it take a lot of time for it to, like, what was your main reason for doing Kriya? Because my main reason for doing Kriya was my health problems. Why did you want to find Babaji? Why you wanted to find him? And took 12 years. Did you ever feel like you were did you still have that willpower within you when you saw him in your dream, or did it kind of...
Yeah, he came in the dream, and the next day I went looking for him. And I went and found a book because I wanted to find him in the world. He was my guru, and he called me. And he's been my guru many, many times. I've been with him a lot. And so he called me, and I had to find him. And find him I did. And then he gave me a world peace mission, because it's taken me a long time to realize, and then he gave me my spiritual name. So it's taken me a long time to realize what this all means.
It's kind of like, once you found that spiritual guru, Mahatma Babaji, was he very surprised that you spent a lot of time? Did he already know that you were searching for him? Or
yeah, I mean, his first words when I walked up to him was, "You've been looking for me for 12 years, and now I've called you." So he said he watched me as a little girl coming home from school. He could see me throwing my satchel in the corner of the room. You know, he'd been watching me, guiding me all my life. And my last life, I was with him. I've had many, many, many lives with him.
Okay, Swami.
Yeah, so I'm really, and that's why he's given me a mission.
What did Babaji call you as a nickname, Swami? Chella, was it?
No, he called me my Beth.
My Beth.
Because I went to him as Beth, he'd call me my Beth. Then as I went along, he'd say Elizabeth. Elizabeth. And then he called me my Aliananda. So gradually, but it was my Beth.
And a few more questions. So when you started World Peace Mission, were people interested, or were they saying, did they have doubts about it? And how did it grow to this or this society that you created?
Well, through its momentum and through hard work, really, and through being willing to move, willing to go,
Mm.
not having inertia. Inertia is a bad thing in life. You've got to have action and follow. If you're invited or if something comes, say yes.
That's a
Say
very
yes.
that's a very interesting point, Swami, because a lot of people that I meet, like you've been guided by Babaji, you've had the spiritual connection for many, many years, but people don't, they have inertia, they have desires, they want things, but they're not willing to put the effort in to get them.
You've got to have effort. When I first went to Babaji, he would say, get up at 4 and do your Kriyas. So I did. And I'd hear a little bird pecking on the window. And he would say, that was me pecking on the window last night to wake you up. Or, yeah, it was like, you cannot have inertia. You have to change yourself. And it's your work, and you have done it for yourself. It's like we were talking, tablets aren't going to fix you. You've got to find your willpower to change yourself.
Yeah, and I think like I found that I'm finding that inner guru with myself with Kriya Yoga, and like I'm trying to get off my tablets and stuff, but like it's kind of like, I mean, mental health is such a big topic in today's society. It's like, what would you be advice to people that are trying to find that inner guru within themselves, and what you think they should do, like in order to, say if they don't believe in Kriya, what would you say would be the best option for them?
Well, I think one of the best options is to be in nature as much as possible.
Mm.
But going back to tablets, and I wouldn't advise anybody to give them up for the moment, if at all. If a doctor advises you, take the advice of the doctor and do your practice as you're doing it, and gradually you will change, and in the divine plan you'll lessen the tablets. Because Babaji was a doctor. He came to England, he was a doctor as well. So he would have herbs from the Himalayas for people. But if they came with a really bad chest infection, he'd give them antibiotics. He did everything. It's like, and it's as simple as that. So, it's like homeopathy. You can take homeopathy, and if you have to have antibiotics, have them. It's all in the mix in the world.
So it's kind of like you got to find that balance, and once you find that balance within you,
just take advice, listen to other people too, and listen to yourself. It's both of it, really.
I think with Kriya Yoga, I've actually become a little more holistical thinker. So I mean, I can see the bigger picture, and I think like people should do Kriya Yoga. I mean, forget computer games, because computer games, you need to buy the new computer games. I think you got to find something greater, in a void of bliss, and expansion of consciousness to give that satisfaction and joy in your life. It's amazing, Swami.
And the other thing is, what I found is that with Kriya Yoga and a practice, that you start to think differently, that you see differently. So you have a bigger perception of life, and you make bigger choices for yourself. You make better choices for yourself. You're not a victim of sitting down watching some TV program and endlessly watching something that's not really doing much for you. You start to think for yourself.
Yeah, I think I used to watch a lot of TV, and I realized that this thing about watching TV is you're trying to, it's kind of like you're looking into a reality that you want to kind of be in, but that reality is not a part of you. But you need to find that reality that you're looking for in yourself.
Yeah, you do. And then you start to live your life, which is a different thing from being part of life.
And like a lot of young people want to live watch people on Instagram. They want to live that amazing lifestyle with a nice car, big house, and all these expensive things in this. But it's not kind of, I mean, if you look at the people that are living those lives, they are not really happy, in my opinion, are they, Swami? Because they are in the endless illusion of Maya, in a sense.
Yeah, but I think that, you can have all these things if you earn these things. And if you live as a billionaire or you live as a pauper, is how you come to your life. We've all got a chance to do what we want to do. It's like, how do you come to that? It's like when you've gone in and you're in yourself, you're not a victim of your wealth anymore. But it doesn't mean to say you don't make money. That's, I mean, I can't say that we can just suddenly stop making money.
Yeah.
Because, the money goes around in the world to help feed the world. I mean, or whatever. It's a sticky situation, sticky topic. It's how you come to it all.
And it's not to let your possessions and the amount of assets or wealth you got to define you in a way. It should be your actions and the good things you do in this world to define you in a way.
Yes, and your attitude. I mean, you can be a billionaire and absolutely loving, kind and charming and kind to people and do wonderful things, or you can be a billionaire, nasty and rude. It's how we are. Or you can be a pauper, you can be charming to somebody, or you can be rude. I mean, I was a young man and he was begging and I gave him some biscuits and he said, "Oh, go stuff yourself. I want money." Well, I mean, it's like attitudes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some other person you give them to would say, "Well, thank you very much. That's just what I needed." So, no matter where you are in your life, it's your attitude and how you are.
And I think attitude's a big thing, isn't it, Swami? Because like the attitude that you have kind of vibrates to other people, and then that kind of comes back to you, isn't it, Swami?
Yeah, it does. Do unto others as you'd have them do to you. I mean, it's like attitude is quite right. And I think that Kriya Yoga, I'm taking it back to that again, but it does bring that center point of a balance within you. So you are more in the place of thinking of other people too. And being aware, it brings an awareness to you of how people are feeling, what somebody might need. You might offer somebody something and you might say, "Well, how are you feeling?" I don't know. You might feel you need to comfort somebody more than another person. It's an awareness that is within us. It's called, now what is the word called? I might remember in a minute, but empathy.
Empathy, okay, sorry.
You see, empathy awakens, wisdom awakens, thoughtfulness, kindness, beauty. But they're not done for a result. You're not doing it because I want to look good. You're doing it because it's a natural thing that arises within you.
And I think Kriya Yoga especially, I think it should be taught in prisons, but the teaching to train their muscles or, go on runs but it's on the surface level, like they're not training their minds to find the inner deep bliss and happiness and calmness, an ocean of peace within themselves.
I agree with you. But, little steps and all that. Start with yourself is the thing. If we start to change ourselves, we're changing the world.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you, Swami.
It's been wonderful, actually. It's been a delight to be here with you.
Thank you, Swami. It's been a delight to have you as my guru and spiritual and your
Oh,
spiritual guidance and your wisdom is very profound. And hopefully we can get this message out to many, many people and change their lives and help them to find the inner peace within themselves to, you know, be joyful and grateful in this world and practice
yes,
gratitude.
gratitude is the key.
Mm.
I think you've ended on a marvelous, marvelous understanding.
Thanks for me.
Oh, wonderful, my darling. Thank you. Superb. Lovely. Now, how do we switch this thing off?
See,
Peter, I'll get him a minute, shall I?
okay.
I think that we might be able to cut that up.
Yeah, yeah, you just tend to cut it out for me.
Yeah, I think so. Could you do that?
Okay, Akshay. Was
Yeah,
it?
it was very good, man. It was
That's
amazing.
great.
I can't
Okay.
wait to see